Welcome to Dance to Heal. I'm your host, Jenny C. Cohen. Join me as I share stories of how dance and movement can bring healing in a way that is safe and tailored to your life. I'm a cancer survivor, mother of two, and an award-winning performer who found that movement was vital to my recovery. I created Dance to Heal Wellness and also authored the best-selling book, Outside in Recovery, Dancing My Way Back to Myself After Breast Cancer. I will bring new techniques to help you on your dance journey and healing path. Are you ready to move? Dance to Heal starts now. Hello, everyone. I am so honored to welcome Lori McDowell today. This is a woman that is a wonder woman in terms of helping you heal by helping you nail down what your passion and purpose is married together. All right. She comes from a heart centered and spiritually grounded methodology. Lori, welcome.
Hi, Jenny. Happy to be here.
So you're what inspired you to go into this niche of where you're focused on today?
I was inspired really from my own experience. I worked in corporate America for over 30 years. And throughout my life in corporate America, I had some joy, some fun. But in general, I was kind of like living, this is okay. I didn't really love it. I thought it was secure. It had a good pay. It was easy. I knew what I was doing. So I stayed with it, but it never really excited me. I never was passionate about it. It was very kind of meh. And one day I was actually fired in a horrible way. I was fired after driving 4 hours to go to a meeting. And I was fired not for any reason, for the whim of the company. I didn't agree with them anymore. And they fired me and they said they were going to pay me. I mean, I was kind of made an example of. And I realized that this job I had really wasn't very secure because the company could change it whenever I wanted to. And on that drive home, I realized that I wanted to be in charge of my own joy, my own purpose, my own passion, and decided I was going to start my own business. And in doing that, I realized there are so many people out there that were just like me, that were doing work or doing something because it was safe, it was secure, it paid well, it was easy, yet they weren't living their purpose, weren't passionate about what they did, didn't have fulfillment and joy. And I wanted to change that. So I started helping people, women, whether they're in corporate or whether they are entrepreneurs, but who are doing something because it's easy, it's safe, it pays the bills, yet they don't love it. Because I think life is too short to do something you don't love.
Oh, totally. I feel that in like every part of my body, head to toe. All right, so like I had a similar situation happen to me last year with an online platform where I actually honestly, Lori, I should have left it earlier. And I
Mm.
had a misplaced loyalty. So can we speak on that for the women who are in positions that we're kind of hiding in? Like, real talk, right? We're hiding in and we should be really expanding into who we're meant to be type of thing, or we really are getting indications that we should be moving on to something that's more driven by us personally, right? What are some signs that we should be paying attention to? Because like I had signs which I can share with you after you share what everyone generally should watch out for.
Right. Yeah. I think a big sign is it hard to get out of bed in the morning? Whether you're a morning person or an evening person, if you're doing what you love, you're going to wake up before your alarm clock. You're going to want to get out of bed and start it. And I was pushing that snooze alarm 3 or 4 times every morning. The other thing I found is we feel like we don't deserve something better because what we have, it's paying bills. It's easy. We feel like we should be happy because we're successful on paper. And it's like we think, who am I to want something more when there are people starving, there are people homeless? Why should I want anything better? And I think that's really a big issue, that we don't feel like we deserve more. And we do. We all deserve. Everybody in the world deserves to live an amazing life, an extraordinary life. So it doesn't matter if you're in a good spot, you can be in a great spot.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So, paying attention to sleep and our own barometer of if we deserve more. I love that. I love that. No, no, I was definitely the same type of thing because I do want to remind you, audience, that if you're over 40 or nearing your 40s, or you have this running in your family, because I was just on a menopause summit, right? And sometimes if you're going through some hormonal changes that will affect your sleep, okay? So we're not speaking on those. Or if you're hitting an anniversary, because I'm unfortunately all this is me. um, this is a bad anniversary week for us personally during this recording of this episode. So my sleep completely was affected and is still being affected, right? I think what you're speaking on, Lori, when we say you're having a hard time waking up in the morning, is there a duration of time when we're like, well, no, this has to do with the job?
Yeah, it's just like it has to do with your job. Like, do you dread starting work? Does the thought of starting work bring you joy, or does the thought of starting work bring you feeling like you'd rather be doing anything else? And if it
Okay.
doesn't bring you joy, then you should look at, should I be doing something else, or why doesn't it bring me joy? Because sometimes it's not so much what you do, but it's how you are inside. I worked with one woman who thought she wanted to start her own business because she felt like she hated her job and she was unhappy. And after we went through this process, she realized she didn't want to start her own business. She just wanted a new job. So she changed inside and then changed what her goals were. So sometimes it's not even the job, it's you inside. You're just, you're not being true to yourself. So you're doing the job in a different way. And if you change the way you do the job, it could change the way you feel about it.
Oh, I love that point. I love that point. So, audience members, some of you are watching us on YouTube right now, and some of you are listening to an audio format. So, we're going to spell out the best way to get your hands on Lori's goodies. That sounded so funny in my head, but I came through and said it anyways. So, listen, you're going to go to yourextraordinarylife.net. So, extraordinary is going to be spelled EXTRAODINARY life. And the your is spelled out fully. YOUR extraordinarylife.net, because Lori has quite a wonderful amount of choices for you. Okay. All right, back to the interview at hand, because sometimes people get so into it and then they forget, oh, wait, the episode's over. And I already forgot to like tune into when to get in touch with all of Lori's gifts, right? So you said sometimes it has to do with with your own personal perception. I want to touch on the second point that you shared with the audience, which is you deserve more. Like, how do we battle that? Because oftentimes, Lori, we might be the only breadwinner in the family,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
or we're half, right? We're 50%. Like, what do we do?
yeah,
What do we do?
yeah. I was the only breadwinner in my family, and that's why being fired was really hard because I said, okay, I need to find money. Yet, I had to trust that when I did what was my purpose, it was going to get me money. It was going to work. And it really is a part of it is that, what we don't always put ourselves, women especially, we rarely put ourselves first. We feel like everybody else is more important than us, and we kind of suffer through it all. And what I've learned is that, putting yourself first is really loving yourself, and putting yourself first is the most important thing, because unless you're full and unless you love yourself, you can't really give to anyone else. You can't really love anyone else fully. You can't even love, God fully, because we're made in his image. So if we don't love us, we don't love him, or God, whatever. So putting yourself first is so important, because once you are full, you have so much more to give other people, and you have so many more ways that the universe gives to you, because you raise that energy, and good things just happen when you're in that space of I'm abundant, I'm deserving, I'm amazing, and I'm going to surround myself by great things and great people, and the things are going to come to me.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Um, do you have a suggestion for our listening audiences of how do we start on the ooh, like is there an exercise we can do about how to, even start going, oh, wait, I deserve more? Like how do I even
Yeah,
how do we
there's one it's a fun exercise to do, and if you've never done it, the first time I did it was enlightening, but I call it 100 things I tolerate. And you just get a piece of paper and you start making a list of things that you tolerate, things that you don't really enjoy, but you let people do them or you do them yourself and something, and when you make that list, you kind of see like most of those things on the list, there's really no reason why you have to tolerate them. Often you can just say, I don't like this, do something different, or I'm not going to do this. But it's a way to start putting yourself first and realizing you deserve it, because sometimes we're tolerating things that there's no good reason for. And even the person we're tolerating them from, there's not really a good reason. It doesn't make a big difference. So that's kind of a
Okay,
fun exercise to just make
Lori.
that list.
What about, because we're both married, so I'm gonna whisper in case your
Oh,
partner can hear this. What about
husbands are on that list.
what about husbands? Husbands. What about husbands chewing? Like, what about things like that, Lori?
Yes.
What about their chewing?
Sometimes husbands are on that list, and sometimes it's you're tolerating because it bothers you, but the way you get rid of it is don't let it bother you. Like my husband cannot load a dishwasher. It drives me nuts. I can put 3 times the amount of stuff in the dishwasher that he can, and it used to drive me crazy. And when I realized it, okay, what's the big deal? Let him load the dishwasher. At least he's putting the dishes in, and if
Yeah.
he does it, they still come clean. And if not, he can wash them again. And so some of the things you tolerate, you can just say, I'm going to stop tolerating them because I'm going to stop letting them bother me. So that's one way to deal with husbands, because you don't want to fight over the little things. Just focus on those big ones.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm married, what, it'll be 34 years in June. So for
Oh,
us,
wow.
it's more, honey, I know you need to crunch and chew and slurp right now. I'm really not in a place to actually tolerate it. So I'm just going to remove myself if you need to do that without
Uh-huh.
without interfering with his enjoyment, right?
Right.
And
Yes.
then he'll usually answer, no, 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 I want to sit next to you. I'm like, yeah, you don't get both though. Like you can't,
Right.
because I'm literally gonna like bang my head into the wall if I have to listen to this anymore. Or I'll put my AirPods in.
I was going to say headphones. Okay. Well, we sit. Will you eat? I'll listen to music while we cuddle.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, 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 no. No cuddling while we're chewing. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. This is how we stayed married. Okay, Lori. How we stayed married. How we're gonna celebrate the 35th and 40th anniversaries.
Wow. Congratulations.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. All right. So, do you work with only women? Do you work with men?
I do work with men. I target women because I think there are more women who face this thing. I think a lot more men just say, you know, I'm I am gonna do what makes me happy. So there's not as many, but I work with men, I work with women, I work with people, a lot of times people who come from other underprivileged, whether it's minority or LGBTQ plus, have the same issues. So I will work with anyone who is willing to do the work. I just mostly market to women because that's where I come from, and a lot of my clients are women.
I love that you are very open to working with anyone that resonates with you, right, Lori? So,
Yes.
listeners and my viewers, be aware sometimes that if you have a gut inclination to check out a person's information, Lori does have a gift in the link tree. I'm going to say that domain again for you, yourextraordinarylife.net. You got to scroll down past all of her other free, she's got one paid workshop and some coaching selections. You go all the way down, like I think 5 or 6 of them, and there's a choice to do a gift from her, right? Do it because Lori is telling you that men can also struggle with this, right? Because most of the time, if a man is raised in a very traditional culture where you're expected to work a steady job and bring all the income in, they're not necessarily giving themselves permission to have passion. You may not have ever been given yourself permission to be creative, and that's part of who you are, no matter whether you identify as male, female, non-binary, and all the other options, right? Or
Mhm.
choices, or who you're meant to be as you come into that. That may be more of a marrying of your passion and your purpose,
Exactly. Yes.
right? All right.
Hmm.
So, uh, folks, Lori and I know each other from a high level speaking program and a bunch of other things. We tend to overlap in a lot of our studies. What would you say that is pivotal to someone beginning the journey? of finding that marrying, besides the 100 things you're tolerating? What is something that, I guess, we're a little further. It doesn't matter though. Like, when do you decide, oh, I want to try this out? How do we know this is something that's meant for us, or is just a person really good at like capturing our attention?
Right. I think I would just say, trust your gut feeling, your intuition, because you really do know, and we ignore that voice that's telling us what to do. We listen to all those other voices that, telling us that we're not good enough or we're not, we have to be right. The voice you want to listen to is the voice that's your intuition. You can tell it's your intuition because it's always kind. It's never going to be mean to you. It's never going to negative. It's always going to be positive. It might be tough. It might say, Lori, you've been thinking about this for 3 years. Get off your butt and do it. But it's doing it in a kind and loving thing. So if you get that gut feeling or you hear that voice in your head, listen to it because it is taking you down the right path. And you can start. You don't have to invest in high dollar programs, or start by, looking at the free things that are available. Just get people offer calls. I offer calls. Jenny probably offer calls. Just schedule a call and talk to someone, because what I've learned since starting my own coaching business is most coaches are willing to help you just because that's what they love. Their passion is helping people. So get started and talk to someone and see if they resonate with you, and they'll give you some suggestions, everything from invest in $27 or $30 in a program to maybe you need to invest in a big coaching program or something. But there's definitely, listen to that gut voice, listen to that intuition that's telling you there's more for you, or you deserve more, you can do something better. And we all, I mean, I called that your extraordinary life because I believe we all deserve extraordinary lives, and it's possible for everyone, no matter what your situation, because it comes from inside.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And so my repeat audience members, you understand how I always advocate for you resonating with what's being presented in front of you, right? You always want to do a double check with your body. We'll make sure that we add in the link to the muscle testing for yourself when you
Mm-hmm.
want to do a double check, like, because I'm very much like a bling person, and sometimes I'll get caught up in the bling and then go, wait, but is this something for me right now? And usually 50-50. Sometimes it's not for me at this time, and sometimes yes,
Mm-hmm.
jump on it, right? Now, I didn't mention this yet, and I want to make sure we talk about this, is that, Lori is a best-selling author, and her book is called The Reinvention Method. So, mindset, I'm sorry,
Mindset.
the reinvention mindset. And here's the thing, I want to acknowledge we all learn in different ways, right? And some of us are more reticent to book a one-on-one call with her or me, okay? With you, Lori, or me. And now, audience, that's okay, because then you can go to Lori's gift on the yourextraordinarylife.net and do the from stuck to soaring gift, or you can go to my danceandheal.com for the free class. And then she's got her book, I've got my book, right? And you can read our books and be like, oh, they have things that I really resonate with. And then you can book the call. Does that make sense? So there's always different choices depending on what kind of a learner you are. Some of my clients would never have worked with me if they hadn't already read my book. Some of
Mm-hmm.
my clients, right, are, they did a newbie, they did an online recorded class because they were afraid. I've had a client who was afraid to do live classes because she didn't want to be asked to turn her camera on. So she did record it for a while, and then I always give people permission to leave their cameras off, right, in
Right.
my movement classes. And then she eventually built up um ability to turn her camera on and then be dancing with us. And we're talking about, this is a person that danced as a child. So it wasn't like, oh, they were new to dancing, things that occurred in the interim, that there was a block for them. Does that make sense? So, audience member, I mean, I know Lori understands this because, Lori is someone who is very, very comfortable with working with your different layers of where you are. All right, my dear. I think we have to come back because there's a plethora of other things that you offer, and I think our audience members need to hear more about it, like your book. Will you share a little bit about what your book talks about before we say goodbye until next time?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. The book I actually started writing right after I got fired because I always wanted to write a book and never had time. And it helped me with my journey, because what the book is about, people, we all know people who something terrible happened to them and they turned it around and did something amazing. And then we know other people where something terrible happened and they never recovered from it. And I interviewed both types of people and looked at what the ones that do amazing things all have in common. And they all had a lot of things in common. And that's really what I go through in the book, is what do they have in common? Things like believing in themselves, things like not doing it alone. There's 13 chapters of it. So I share their stories and my stories, and it's a very conversational book, but it helps you realize that it doesn't matter what happens to you. It matters what you do about it. And that's really what changes your life.
I love that. I love that, Lori. All right, audience members, I would love for you, if you're watching YouTube, make sure to make some comments, and Lori and I will go back and answer any questions for you, because we also have people who would prefer just to ask questions on the internet, and that's okay too. We're here for you. All right, Lori, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Jenny. This has been great.
Okay, bye, folks. Thanks for listening to Dance to Heal with Jenny C. Cohen. Come back next time to hear stories of recovery through movement and learn more ways that you can move your body. To work with me and continue your journey, visit outsideinrecovery.com. Are you ready to move?